Ever feel like you learned more actually working than you ever did in school?
Oh, absolutely.
Like way more.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Like classrooms, textbooks, they have their place, but it's out there in the real world, figuring things out on the fly.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the real learning seems to kick in, right?
Sure.
And that's actually what we're diving into today. This idea of experiential learning, how we gain knowledge through, well, experience.
Cool.
And there's a model for this. It's called the 70.20.10 model.
Okay.
Have you heard of this?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, it basically says that 70%, a whopping 70% of our learning comes directly from on-the-job experiences.
It makes sense, though, doesn't it?
It does.
When you think about it, it's like you can read all the books in the world, but until you're actually in the trenches,
Right. Facing a real problem.
Exactly.
Having to come up with a solution.
Yeah.
And maybe even stumbling a few times along the way.
Yeah.
That's how it really sinks in.
That's when you really learn it.
Yeah.
And the source we're looking at today, they really double down on this whole learning by doing thing.
Yeah.
Which I think is key.
It is.
That and learning from others. Those two things, they say that's the bulk of it, like 90%.
Huge.
Huge, right.
Yeah.
So, okay, if that's true, if most of our learning happens this way, does that mean like traditional education, the whole, classroom formal setting,
is it obsolete?
is it becoming less important?
I don't think so, no.
Yeah.
Think of it this way. Formal education, that's like your foundation, right?
It gives you the building blocks, the essential knowledge, critical thinking, all those tools you need. But then it's the real world experience that builds on top of that foundation.
Right.
It's like formal education teaches you how to learn.
Yeah.
Which, let's be honest, is more important than ever these days.
Absolutely, because things are changing so fast.
Exactly.
That reminds me, I tried to teach myself photography once.
Oh, really?
Yeah, read all the books, watched hours of tutorials.
Okay.
But it wasn't until I actually picked up a camera,
Yeah.
started playing around with it, messing up shots, honestly, that it finally clicked.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Those mistakes, those challenges, that's where the real learning happens. The 70.20.10 model, it's not saying formal learning is useless. Not at all. It's just saying, look, a huge chunk of what we know, how we grow, it comes from those hands-on moments. Yeah. And those often pop up when we least expect it.
And speaking of unexpected, can we talk about today's work environments?
Oh boy, here we go.
Because between the emails, the meetings, social media, it's like this nonstop.
It's a lot.
Constant learning curve just to stay afloat.
It is. And that's exactly why this model, this 70.2.10 idea, it's more relevant now than ever.
Absolutely.
It's not like it used to be where you learned in school and then you were good. You had your career and that was that. Now it's constant. You got to be learning all the time. And it's usually not happening in a classroom.
It's happening in the wild. Yeah, especially with technology changing so quickly, which actually our source talks about this. Yeah, how formal education just can't keep up sometimes.
It can't. It's too much, too fast.
Too much, too fast.
Yeah.
And they make the point that to really learn new technology, you have to just dive in, be on the front lines.
On the trench.
Be in those trenches, exactly.
So I'm curious, thinking about your own field, your own career, where are those trenches for you?
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, where are the places, the projects, the people that'll really give you those hands-on, can't get it from a textbook kind of experiences?
I love that. So to our listeners, as you're going about your day, think about a skill, something you're really good at.
Yeah.
Something you're proud of.
Yeah.
Something you've mastered. I'd be willing to bet you didn't learn that just from reading about it.
Why not? Yeah.
Think about those on-the-job moments, those interactions with colleagues, the mistakes you made, because we all make them.
Oh, for sure.
How did those experiences shape your understanding?
It's a good question, right?
It is.
Because if most of our learning really is happening outside of that traditional setting, shouldn't we be more deliberate about it?
Ooh, I like that.
How can we be more intentional about seeking out those growth opportunities?
Love it.
How can we turn our everyday work into those valuable learning experiences?
That's something to think about.
It is.